welcome to yet another session of Blackboard. Today we are going to look at reversing a linked list. So you're given a linked list like this. Let's say it's 1, 2, 3, right? Of course, this is null and this is the head, right? And your return should be 3, 2, 1. So basically just reversing a linked list. So let's dig in. So this is a little bit simple if you think about it. You can, one of the approaches that you can use is given this linked list. So let me just write it again where the head is pointing at. It's much better to just say that the head is pointing here. It's the head, and then 1, 2. Sorry, this is 2, right? Scratch that. 2, 3, and then goes to null. Okay. The approach that I want to propose is have 2 pointers. Call one pointer fast, another one slow. Okay. So your first initialization will be that the first pointer will be pointing at the beginning, and the slow will be somewhere behind it. So at this point, my slow is null when you start. It's somewhere just in the air, right? Pointing somewhere here, right? And fast is right before it by 1 step. And then they'll be moving each 1 step at a time. So the slow takes in takes the position of fast, and fast goes fast dot next up to until when fast gets to the end of when it's null. Okay. So how do you do that? The first thing is you have, of course, the initialization of fast being the head, is what you said here. The slow is pointing at null. It's not there, right? And then you have, while you have not reached the end, well, first n is not at the end. What do you do? It's not null. You have, for you to have this got the next without losing, because you know at the end of the day you're going to reverse this. So for you not to lose this link, you have to have a temp here. So you have your temp. So here you have your temp pointing at first dot next. Okay. Now at this point, when you have these 2 pointers here, this one and this one, you're ready to do the swap. And how do you do the swap? The swap is as easy as saying let fast dot next point to slow. Okay. So this one means effectively you're breaking this this link, and you're pointing it to where slow is pointing. So this is pointing back. So okay, so the head is already reversed, pointing to where slow was pointing, which is here. And then you have sorry, that is already reversed by that point, and you have your temp here. So the next thing will be what? To just now move our new fast to move to this point. Now this is where our new fast is pointing now. This point. First one is pointing here. And how do you get that? That's as easy as just saying that the first is where temp is pointing, right? And then the slow just takes in where fast the previous fast was. So the thing is, you start with the slow takes in where the previous fast is, which is the flow equals to fast. So it means slow points now, slow comes here, as we said here. Then now where slow, the new slow is, we'll just call it slow 1, is here. then first one points to where temp was, so first becomes equals to temp. And now you've moved already. You are now, your slow is here. So let's rewrite this a little bit. So this is our linked list at this point. This is pointing here back, which is null. This is pointing at null. And then we have this is broken, the link here is broken, okay, and we have 2 here, and 2 is pointing at 3, and 3 is pointing at null, okay. So at this point we are here, but remember that our first is here and our slow is here, and we do the same thing because it's a loop. We do the same thing. We say first we do the same thing here. First dot next equals to slow. So first dot next, we are breaking this, we are pointing now to this backward here, okay. Now you can see the point. You see now the reverse is working and the rest is just the same thing. So let's go up to the end because we need to see how this null, what will happen to this null, okay, because that's really important. So now at this point we are doing the same thing, and now null is here and 1 is here, and this is pointing back here, and this is broken, this is standing on its own, and this is pointing at null, okay. So what happens next? We do the same gymnastics here, or we have our first now is at this point and our slow is at this point. The last part, again we do the same thing, break this link, point this backwards here, okay. And now remember temp was here, okay. So first dot then the last first will be pointing at to null, which will be the end of loop. And now we have our slope. At the end of the day, when this is pointing at this, when we finish that, slow will be at this point. Slow will be at this point, okay. The last slow, call it last slow n or slow 2, and thereabout, okay. So this is how our linked list is looking at this point. At the end, 1 is pointing at 2, this is pointing at 3, and remember this is slow, okay. This is the slow that we were talking about, slow, okay. But then you just rename slow, you just make the head equals to slow, okay, and then this becomes the head. So at the end of the day, this is our linked list that we wanted. It's just starting from the end to the beginning, but it's the same. So that is it about this. So let's write the code real quick here. So I'm going to use, as usual, JavaScript. So let's write function, call it reverse list or linked list. Just takes in the head of the linked list. That's all we need. And then, as you said, the initialization is at first we have the first pointing at the head. If you just scroll back and pause, look at the way we started. That's how we are initializing. And then let slow equal to null, okay, just behind it. And then we start a while loop. So while first is not at the end, so it does not reach the end, which is null. What do? We have a temp. We have let temp to hold where first is gonna go next. So first dot next, hold that point, and then now we can swap. Now we can say first dot next, let it point to slow, so it's point backwards, okay. And then now increment both, so just increment both pointers, increment both pointers. where we mean slot goes to where first is, and first goes to the next, which is first, equals to temp. So both are incremented at the end. So this is as easy as that. So and then return the new head. So now the new head becomes return slow. That's the end. That's as easy as that, reversing a linked list. So thank you for joining on this one, and see you on the next one.